Greetings and welcome to Armored Core Requiem, the series where I take on players' submitted builds and optimize them to the best of my abilities. I've been doing this for a while now, and so far my upgrades have not disappointed. The process goes like this. I take on a player's submitted build, upgrade it live on stream for any viewer as well as the creator of the build themselves to add any input before the final verdict. And then I do this, I make the video discussing the original gameplay of the build as well as all the upgrade decisions, and then do a final PvP test to determine which variant is superior. So if you have a build you would like me to take a look at, you can leave a comment with the build information and or share code, depending on if you're on Xbox, and yeah, I'll give it the good old Requiem treatment. However, if you want a faster result, you can find the link in the description below to the Xbox Fight Club Discord, where you can go to the Requiem workshop and post your build information there. There I'll get back to you much quicker with the upgraded variant, however I will not be giving it the YouTube treatment of going over every single change. You can ask questions and we can have a more personal, private conversation about the build's upgrades in case you don't want the build to be public, or you just want a quicker result without all of the bells and whistles of the video. But yes, all is said, I appreciate you all, have a good one, and enjoy the video. Greetings and welcome back to Requiem. We have two builds to take a look at. Both are upgraded last live. I tend to live stream upgrading the ACs as well as Reforge every Monday, so if you want to be a part of that indubitably and add your own input and your own builds while live, keep me in mind for Mondays. As well as before we begin, I want to let you all know that the Xbox Fight Club Discord is hosting a 3v3 cosplay tournament here in a few days, here on the 14th of April, so if you want to get in and get your team, get set up with a cool theme, feel free to act fast, indeed. But with that out of the way, let's get into the builds. Alrighty, for our first build, we have a Kite melee build, bipedal AC. For the weapons, we have the laser rifle LRA, a very solid laser-based ranged weapon, one of the best next to like the LR, LRB, and the Rensetsu RF in terms of range offensive abilities. And since it is a straight-up laser rifle, an energy weapon, it does scale with the energy firearm spec that you'll find on generators to boost its overall damage. Next for our melee, we have the laser blade, which is definitely an interesting one to have on a more ranged weapon, as it is indeed a closer range melee weapon. Its charge attack is pretty good for incoming rushdown denial, if you can time it well. But yeah, its normal attack is good for going in, its charge attack is way stronger, but is a little iffy with connection, and overall just tracking itself can be kind of iffy if the opponent is above or below you, although that's kind of the case for most melees. For the shoulder mounts, we have dual split missiles. These are pretty damn solid at medium to long range. Close range is when they start to differ, as most ranged missiles tend to be. But as a ranged missile option, these are very solid, very sporadic, and yeah, pretty hard to dodge. And then lastly, we have the grenade cannon earshot. Very solid for just overall impact damage outside of stagger, as well as incredible direct hit because of its max attack power and impact. Direct hit adjustment actually isn't crazy high, but if it was, this would just be overpowered. But yeah, this can absolutely shred an opponent. Very good indeed. Although very heavy and quite the reload time. For the frame parts, nothing specific that gives the build a defining edge. And with our current assortment, we have 9,000, almost 10k AP, which is not bad. 1,100 defenses, also not bad. 1,600 stability, not the best, but for an evasive build, I suppose it won't matter that much. But only 325 speed. That's pretty slow for a more evasive build such as this. For the inner parts, we have the Flugel, a very solid all-rounder booster if you don't mind the weight. Its melee attack thrust and EN consumption is pretty damn nice, allowing you to use melee canceling to close distance if you're a slower boy, although melee canceling with the normal attack of the laser blade is a bit iffy. But yeah, a solid all-rounder if you don't mind the weight. For FCS, we have the Talbot, very good for medium and close range assist, and generator of VP20C, which is absolutely goated for weight and natural EN regeneration, which is very good for more evasive builds considering you won't be spam dodging a lot. And then lastly, terminal armor. Very interesting on a kiting build, but hey, it can work. Alrighty, and flow for this build, get at a medium range above 130 meters, fire out missiles and LRA whenever you're fully locked on. Wait until the red reticle in the very center is fully locked on before firing. But yeah, if they close the jump above and use the earshot, it's definitely best because then you get the blast radius guarantee. Wait till they're near a wall or something like that. But yeah, if they come in close, or they're just staggered, I guess you could go in with the normal attack if they're staggered. Or if they're rushing you down at close range, you can easily just punch that with the double slap indeed. But yes, this is the original AC. Let's go over Requiem.
これがレクイエムだ。
And here we are, Requiem. For the primary weapons, keeping the LRA, as it is indeed goated for its purpose, at least if you want to use laser ranged weaponry. And I ended up switching the laser blade to a much better ranged melee, that being the Moonlight Redshift, very, very solid in or outside of stagger. As well as I ended up changing the dual split missiles to the Javelin Beta, as I believe it serves the same purpose but way, way better at a medium to long range. Obviously, close range is when it starts to dip in quality, but preferably we don't go into close range. And yeah, Javelin will shine indubitably. The amount of stagger it builds up is mighty, and how subtle it is makes it very hard to dodge. And then lastly, I ended up switching the Earshot for the much more lighter and majestic bazooka. We will have to swap to shoot it every now and again, but honestly, it's not that bad, especially if we have it on the hand with the Moonlight, where both will be on a more recharging cycle. This shall be very solid for in or outside of stagger. And yeah, very solid, very light, allowing us to be more evasive and run other parts. Speaking of, we have the Virile Head, the Elbow Core, the Ephemera Arms, and the Howl Legs. With this current assortment, we have 10k 400 AP, which is incredibly solid, 1100 defenses, which is great, 1700 stability, which is great, and now we're at 335 speed, which is very solid. Not the fastest for any kiting build, but honestly, for a build that has this much stop and fire, we definitely need the more durability. For inner parts, we have the SPD, an absolutely goated booster for such a build, as it has max thrust, allowing us to move around very quickly. Its weight is very nice, allowing us to reach higher speeds. And yeah, its assault boost, speed, and EN consumption is very solid, allowing us to assault boost decently fast and for quite some time, allowing us to evade most builds. And yeah, the melee attack doesn't really matter considering we're using Moonlight. But yes, it's very solid for more ranged kite-like builds such as this. And for SCS, to switch to the Walt, as it is pretty much the superior version of the Talbot, much like the Ocellus is to the Orbit. And for Generator, going with the VE20C for its nice boost in energy firearm spec, making us do more damage with the LRA, as it is our main offensive weapon at range. Our EN load is kind of close to EN shortfall, but being a more ranged build, as long as we're careful with how much EN we spend, we should be fine on recharge. And expansion switching to Pulse Armor, as it will be more useful in more scenarios, and we don't really have the damage to come back with a Terminal Armor play. Only really run Terminal Armor on this build if you're in 3v3s. Alright, for the playstyle, just like the other one, get above 130 meters, fire out your missile whenever, fire out your bazooka whenever you feel like, in or outside of stagger, as well as your melee when they're staggered to get that heat damage. And yeah, just kind of spray and pray kind of whenever everything's up and you have an opportunity to use it. It is very solid to do so. Alrighty, and that is it for this build. We'll be doing the PvP test after we take a look at the next build, but first I want to let y'all know that we are doing the sub goal. If the channel reaches 2,500 subs, I will be doing a video like this every day for a week, that being the Requiem week. But yeah, all said, let's get on to the next build. Alrighty, for our last build, we have a high stagger, close range, fasty boy bipedal build. For the weapons, we have the Zimmerman shotgun, absolutely goated for close range burst, high stagger damage. Next, we have the burst machine gun Estrogen, a very solid close range, high stagger build of weapon. Not as burst as the shotgun in the sense that you will have to stand there to keep firing it to get value, instead of firing once, dodging around, firing again. This is when you have to stand still, so you would preferably have a little more chunk. For the shoulder mounts, we have the single variant of the split missile launcher we just took a look at. Very solid for medium to long range. Close range is when it starts to dip, which doesn't exactly coincide with our primary weapons, but can be decent to get the stagger in the initial fight before you close into close range. And then lastly, we have the laser orbit, a solid constant damage weapon, good to keep the stagger meter constantly going. But the damage is kinda hit or miss. It's alright. Better for the bullet orbit on a build like this, but the laser can indeed serve the purpose of keeping that stagger up if they want to keep running. And with our current assortment of parts, we have 9k AP, 1100 defenses, 1600 stability, and 379 speed, or in the 370 speed threshold, which is very, very fast indeed. For the inner parts, we have the SPD, which we talked about being a very good ranged type of oriented booster. This is also pretty solid on a build as fast as this, as you won't really need the assault boost that you would normally get from like the Alula. This is very solid for a build like this that indeed wants to go for like 370 speed, as you'll just be able to use your movement speed and sometimes assault to close the distance, but you are indeed kind of squishy. For FCS, we have the Talbot, and for Generator, the VP20C, which is very solid for natural regeneration. Although on a build like this, a lot more capacity is definitely favored, as it allows you to play more elusively near the opponent, you know, dodge, bob and weave, and stuff like that, as we don't really have the frame for a slugger type fighting style. But yeah, the VP20C is solid. It's either that or the Akushi for such a build, and you won't lose that much speed, and you do gain quite the capacity increase. And then lastly, for expansion, Assault Armor, which can indeed work on a build like this. And when it comes to the flow of the build, fire out the missiles when far away, put up the orbit, and yeah, just go in and keep spraying your both weapons, I guess, until stagger, and I guess that's kind of just it. Use your high mobility and speed to dodge around the opponents, and yeah, just keep spraying and praying until they're dead. Alright, this is the original build. Let's go over Requiem.
これがレクイエムだ。
Alright, and here we are, Requiem. For the primaries, just ended up doubling up on these Zimmerman shotguns as they make for fantastic rushdown weapons as well as great bursts if you want to dodge around a lot and get your damage out as well. Next, I ended up switching the missile launcher to the Multi-06 or the 6 cell, as this missile is very solid at medium to close range, not so great at the medium to long range type distances, but yeah, you can barrel stuff with this very consistently and get lots of value out of it indeed. Very good close range missile launcher. Then lastly, I ended up switching the bullet orbit to a melee weapon, as if we're going to switch the Bastio arms, considering we're using shotguns and we don't really need the recoil control, a melee will indeed serve very well for getting that big damage off whenever we stagger our opponent, which with all of our impact damage weapons, it will be often. For the frame parts, given the playstyle went a little thicker, we have the Viral Head, the Elbow Core, the Bastio Arms, like I said, boost melee damage, and we don't need the recoil control for our weapons, as well as they are light and very dense in the AP stat, which allows us to run other parts that are more dense without losing much of our speed. And then Mind Alpha Legs, as they're the most stat heavy for our new speed threshold we're looking at, which is around 345, 350, which is indeed epic sauce. And for inner parts, we're going with the Alula Booster, mainly for its normal thrust, as well as its assault boost thrust and quick boost thrust, allowing us to catch up to opponents very fast, and then stay on them with some nice quick boost speed, preferably dodging with the opponent, and yeah, landing some good old zimmies. For FCS, switching to the Ocellus, as our arms definitely need the firearm spec increase, or FCS tracking overall, as well as close range is our range, so Ocellus goated. For generator, going with the Coral Gen, as I find it to be the best gen for this type of playstyle, as its capacity is mighty, allowing you to bob and weave a lot in close distance. The redline type playstyle of redlining your gen and waiting for it all to come back is definitely a adjustment if you're not used to it, but if you want to go for more natural regen, you could go with the Kushi. There's some good EN load, decent capacity, and we do go up to 350 speed, which is always nice. Or of course you could run Santai, although the EN load is pretty close, although I believe the recharge should take care of it, so really you could go with natural regeneration Santai or redline playstyle Coral. And then for expansion, Pulse Armor, as I find it would be much more useful in much more scenarios opposed to Assault Armor, although of course either could do the trick. And for the playstyle, it is very much wise to fire the missiles pretty much whenever, closer range the better, however it doesn't really matter too much. Use the Alula's Assault Boost Speed as well with Assault Boost Zims to get that high stagger, and maybe even do a kick to proc stagger on any opponents indubitably, and then of course Pulse Blade as your stagger punish. Yeah, but do not underestimate the power of Assault Boost Zimmies. They're very, very strong indeed. Alrighty, and this is Requiem indeed. Both builds have been upgraded. We shall now do the PvP test. My good old buddy Shattered, as usual, will be piloting the original builds. I will be piloting Requiem, and we shall battle to see if the upgrades are indeed worthy. Enjoy.
Oh.
First build, rangy boy. All around.
This is very Gen 3 type AC.
I see. It's pretty dope. Not wrong, skitty. So
I'm
arrive
not
the high
playing in a while,
ground.
so let's go.
Oh,
High ground?
indeed, high ground.
Star Wars fan, sir?
You're right.
I
Bombs.
should melee cancel that. Why did I fire this
Oh,
one?
don't touch
I'll
that,
hit
fuck.
hers.
Bombs.
Actually, my thing. Thank you, game. Oh, I've lost it.
Dear God.
Nice. But I didn't have very much like EN at all.
No,
Yeah.
dude, you got it all, dude.
Very stubby dodges.
Oh, dude, you got it. Oh, betrayed? Oh, no. A little bit of lost action.
Damn it. Yeah, these dodges are very good. They're in like a really weird build plate where they're not super good. They're kind and don't have a clean up EN generator.
Yeah, I get you.
But can't just like spam them. I get like 4 dodges. Like I've already emptied it. Yeah.
Your show's coming. Second touch the ground to danger zone.
Ow. The side which I had to check down, I was like, huh, I should probably activate that hit. Yeah, I can't melee cancel with this.
Yeah, no. Even
Damn!
if
Okay, everyone's
the normal attack is just, yeah, the distance is weird. Alright, alright. Back with the good
Let's
old
go.
Zim Kite.
Shut
So
the fuck
elegantly
up.
put it. I mean, hey man, I'm down to debit this. You know?
I did actually once kite someone in my tank.
That is pretty dope.
And not in like the wheelchair, like the heavy tank, like
Yeah. You're a cannon head, I imagine. That's
not
fucking
gunhead,
awesome.
it's a different one.
Oh,
I made a
God.
missile like shield tank, and it's so stupid, but I love it. Oh, that's bad.
Oh, it's epic.
That's bad.
My schmeat.
I've lost.
Nah, it's never Jover till it's Jover.
He says I currently have 885 HP.
Nah, dude, it's all good. It's all
Yeah.
good. Yeah, no, I definitely need the Koro just because I like to dodge with people to make them think they get away, but then I just dodge with them. But I can't do that if I have like actual 3 dodges in my EN by the time I get to the opponent. Ooh. Downtime is downtime.
Yeah.
But I'll say it's worth it.
Turns out that it doesn't punish you for overextending is pretty good.
Nightmare on.
It's probably the best in the game.
Push. Worth it.
Nice. That was a trade on both of our guards.
That would be good.
Okay, I just forgot to use my left top back weapon. That's probably would help a lot.
Yeah, that extra damage would be deep. I don't know where the double sims are going. I'm locked down at close range. It's just not going anywhere. Dodge G.
Oh.
I don't know if it's their connection or not, but I don't know.
Pop, 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 pop.
You're right.
How much speed do you got in that thing?
I think, yeah, normally 345, but obviously a stealth boost is around like 340.
I think this thing is hitting 370.
Oh, it definitely is, yeah. I just... what the fuck? Our connection's a little iffy. It's gonna look great on playback. Hit you with a Zim and then
Okay,
a
well,
little second later, then it gave me the stacker.
It's over. 370 HP, and
Hey,
it's
man,
over.
The plays are insane.
It's so over, bros. It's so over.
Jeez, what the fuck? You know, I self-boosted in, stopped, shot Zims on you. The bullets hit and nothing happened. A couple seconds later, then your stagger went up. That was awesome. I see you delayed it.
Armored
the
Core.
technique. I understand.
Alrighty, and that is it for this video. Thank you so much for sharing your builds and allowing me to upgrade them. Links to Shattered's projects, artwork, and all the good stuff will be in the description of this video indeed, as well as links to my other buddies, as well as the Fight Club Discord, all the good stuff. But yes, thank you so much for watching. I'll catch y'all in the next one, and yeah, peace out.